We work at a university here. I'm a faculty here, Mo's a faculty here. Some of these folks might become researchers eventually. And oftentimes, McMaster is doing a really good job of changing this, in fact, but oftentimes this commercial viability or making money has a negative connotation. It is about like, what is the academic impact? How much have you published? And it seems these two things are maybe, if not like antithetical, like at least orthogonal or like kind of unrelated. So I'd like for you to talk to us about how does a researcher navigate, or maybe they shouldn't, in your perspective, like academic success, research, finding the next tool or technique and just sharing it versus commercializing it. And what if you think there is some, and I kind of think that you do, there is some value in the commercial perspective, in the commercializing and distribution of these tools and ideas and developments.
And John, before you jump into that, let me just add a couple more flavor to what he's just said. You mentioned Warren Buffett. Well, Warren Buffett's longtime partner, Charlie Munger, the late Charlie Munger, said, "Show me the incentive and I'll show you the outcome." A recent paper in Nature in 2024 says, thinking time is often undervalued. It's rarely, if ever, quantified in academics. And we have a new president at the university. And she says, I want to get back to the university's traditions, bold creativity, innovation, and impact, with a real focus, I believe, on building entrepreneurship. Here we are today, in the Marnix E. Hersing School of Biomedical Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So further to the point that Gordon just brought, how do we cultivate this and how do you make those decisions?
Right now, I work in an organization that has a razor-thin margin and a multi-billion-dollar operating revenue. And our comp plans have been changed as we're going through this merger. Everything is about RVU is king, relative value units. Work, RVUs, dollars per RVU, et cetera. It eclipses your value. The time you take to be creative and do these other things detract from your time to be productive. I don't care what the organization says. We value this, we value that. We had a whole webinar you can see on Codman Shoulder Society about a year or two ago on financial relationships between doctors and their hospitals, okay? We talked about this just moments ago, which is why I remember it. An organization may want behavior A, but incentivize for behavior B, and not understand why they're getting B, not A. That's right. All right? That's the world we live in. That's healthcare right now. The top 5 priorities, I won't tell you all of them, but 2 of them are patient access, which is volume, revenue, and cost containment. Neither of those is consistent with innovation and entrepreneurism. Well, that may not be entirely true. You can reduce costs because if you're an innovator to create value, that's outcome divided by cost. So you can either lower cost or you can improve the outcome, or preferably both. But that is the modus operandi, that is your mission, okay? So how will you go against it? You have to be willing to have your salary lowered, which I am. I hope my wife isn't watching this, but that's part of it. After that, there are so many other things I could throw in here, but he's right. The best organizations that I've seen, the best case studies I've seen, the top 10 priorities, well, top 5 don't have money in it. They have all the other things, passion, purpose, blah, 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 et cetera, that frame the context of the journey. Money may be in the top 10 because no money, no mission, which is true too. You have to have, I told you before, you have to have enough money to be an organization that survives, to then be able to give the time for the creativity. So whoever takes over as a leader of your organization, they can't weigh one against the other and compromise on the dollars you produce and your margin, because you won't be able to sustain that. You have to have enough of a base foundation of funds to be able to be creative, to fund the people in the labs. And by the way, my institution on the home page of Mass General Brigham has in big white letters and a blue background, innovation happens here.